Hi.
Hello, t-shirt.
Yep, gotta wear that on treat day.
I was thinking, since we're eating lots of food that we enjoy, that we would touch on a bit more of a real subject. So, brace yourselves, it's about to get real up in here.
You're full of funny ones today, aren't you?
I'm like that when I eat sugar.
Yep, sugar helps. Caffeine helps.
Okay, so this video is, I'm gonna talk about food addiction and emotional eating, which are two things that most people, including Kyle and I at one point, do not touch or want to touch. Why? Because they're really hard to deal with and they're really hard to admit, and it's embarrassing to talk about it and admit it.
But at the same time, like, we always keep our sense of humor, and this is how we got through a lot of these things, because yes, it's a difficult subject to talk about, but you still got to keep your sense of humor, and we find joking and you know, being positive and upbeat about it can help.
Yeah. And the thing is, it is very uncomfortable when you talk about it or when you start to deal with it. But in order to get from 300 pounds to where we are now, we had to deal with that at some point. And we realize now that we'll have to deal with those things for the rest of our lives. We just have better ways of dealing with them than we did before. So first, let's talk about emotional eating and what it is. So emotional eating is when emotional or stress eating, it can be both, it can be called both, or it can be both, is generally when somebody turns to food as a reward when they're stressed, when they're depressed. They use it, they'll eat instead of dealing with something. If they had a bad day, they'll use it as an excuse. Also, there are some people that will not eat all day so that they can use it as an excuse to binge later, and that's emotional eating as well. So Kyle and I used all of that. We were emotional and stress eaters, and just because we're smaller now and we've lost a lot of weight, we will always be emotional and stress eaters. But like I said, we just deal with it more positively now. We've understood how to deal with it. Kyle and I have both kept all of this stuff inside for so long, and we didn't start losing weight and getting healthy until we got it out. So hopefully this helps you guys realize that it's not a bad thing. You're not bad. Don't feel bad about it. Don't feel guilty about it. A lot of people deal with this, and some people don't put it in food, they put it in other things. Look at alcoholics, look at people who gamble, look at people who are addicted to whatever else you can think of, cigarettes.
Lots of people use lots of different things to deal with emotions that they don't want to tackle the proper way, so they put it into something else. Something,
a vice, whatever. So what I did was I transferred it to other things. I became obsessed with the numbers on the scale. I put it into obsessively counting and checking my macros, where I spent the entire summer recalculating my macros every single day because I wasn't using food and I didn't want to deal with stuff, so I put it into that.
And a lot of people need that distraction part of it too. Like, it's not just about, you know, like, not dealing with your emotions.
It's about feeling guilty for not doing something.
Yeah, and they need to fill their time with some sort of busy work, which
or
that
control.
Probably checking your macros obsessively probably was your busy work to fill up space and time in your head so that you didn't have to deal with the emotion too. So
well, the other thing is, growing up, I was constantly told that if I wasn't doing something, I was lazy. And if I wanted to take a nap, I would get in trouble for taking naps, and also I would be called lazy. My family would be angry at me for sleeping or for wanting to rest. It was always brought up. I noticed that you're not yourself today because you're sitting down watching TV. So I always felt guilty about sitting there. And I'm still dealing with that. It's still very hard for me to just relax. So that, along with, well, me not wanting to deal with that and not wanting to deal with how traumatizing that was for me as a child, for, you know, to be called lazy all the time because I didn't always want to be doing chores. That's really hard for me to get over, because that was literally years of that kind of abuse. That was decades of abuse, 2 decades of that. So all of that, and I just put it in other things. So when I didn't use the food, I became obsessed with my macros. Then I worked through that because I understood. I realized what I was doing, but I wasn't ready to deal with it. And I understand my body enough now to know when I'm ready, and my mind, I should say, to know when I'm ready to deal with it. So then it just kept moving into other things. Cleaning is a big one for me. I become obsessed with needing everything to be clean and not being able to rest. So now that I'm working through that, then what I did, and this seems so silly, which is why I put it off for so long, but then what I did was I transferred it into an obsession with chewing gum. And like I said, that's probably going to sound so silly to you, but it became an obsession for me. What I was doing was chewing gum every second of the day, to the point where at night, if I would fall asleep on the couch, I would have gum in my mouth. I was chewing gum all day long. If I was stressed out, I would chew another piece of gum. I was going through a pack of gum a day. I was spending like $20 or $30 on gum a week, because I had to always be doing something. And that goes along with, not only did I not want to deal with stuff, but I had to be doing something. And if I wasn't doing something, then I would have to deal with stuff. So it all just snowballed. And then I became obsessed with chewing gum, to the point where I would leave early for work, go and stop at the gas station, get 4 packs of gum, and go through one whole pack in 6 hours. And it was like, I was sneaking it too, because I was embarrassed of it. So I wouldn't tell Kyle, and I would have like 8 to 10 packs of gum in my purse, because I was using that to deal with stuff.
And it just shows like you can't run away from emotional issues by using other things, whether it be food, cigarettes. You're gonna have to deal with them, you know, at some point. Yeah,
and like this guys is something that is very embarrassing for me to talk about. It seems to me like it's such a silly thing, and I was never confident enough or strong-willed enough to want to share that, because I know sharing this and being open is going to not only help me get over all of this stuff and really truly deal with things, but it's also going to show everybody out there that's watching that don't be ashamed of who you are. And everyone has gone through trauma, and I didn't share that story for people to feel bad for me, because I wouldn't be me without what I went through, and I would never change it, because all of that stuff that I went through as a child, and things that Kyle went through and that you've gone through, made you who you are. And I'm proud of who I am, and for the very first time ever, I'm sharing that with myself and with you guys. So just know that, you know, this is very hard for me to share with you. And so don't be afraid to share stuff. Who cares what people think?
Yeah, and
you know,
one of the point we wanted to get across really is, yeah, we lost the weight, but it doesn't mean now that we did that we're perfect. So you still have to deal with things, or else they will creep up in other areas, right?
Not only that, not only like that we're not perfect, but that just because you've lost weight, it doesn't mean you're free. It doesn't mean you lost weight and you move on with your life. When you've been that heavy, or when you have an addictive personality, or you're a stress or emotional eater, you're stuck with that baby for the rest of your life. That is attached to you. It's your Siamese twin.
Yeah,
and you just have to learn, sorry to cut you off, but you just have to learn how to deal with it more effectively and more positively. And that's why we're sharing this stuff with you. And so to go with that, with my gum addiction, obsession, I knew it, and I waited until the right moment to deal with it. And over Christmas, there was one day where I woke up and just went through my day, and at the end of the day, I realized I didn't chew gum all day. That, from going from chewing 30 pieces of gum in one day to not chewing it at all and not realizing it, I took that as my sign that I was really and truly ready. And it's okay, like, to admit it and to still be doing something. You're still ahead of the game because you've admitted that you've got an issue, and you will know when you're ready. So when I was ready, I knew. I didn't chew gum all day, and I didn't even think about it until the end of the day. That was my sign. And since then, I haven't chewed a piece of gum. Not chewing gum at all is not 100% healthy either. What I need to get to is just like where we are now with food, where I can chew it and not be obsessed with it. So right now, I know that I'm not ready to chew a piece of gum because I still, even though I've been dealing with things and when things get very stressful for me, or if I'm tired, or if I had a tough day, I'll start wanting to chew gum. I know that I'm not ready to handle that just yet, to chew gum, because I don't want it to backslide. So for now, I'm not going to chew any gum, and then when I'm ready, I will slowly introduce it into my, not diet, but you guys know what I mean. I'll slowly reintroduce it, and then I'll be able to chew gum like a normal human. You know, sorry to cut you off.
I was just going to say a big part of dealing with our emotions that we've found is taking something that was secretive or hidden, or that we thought we had to deal with alone, and just speaking it out loud. Like, having each other is great, but if you have something like that, a big part of healing from it properly and dealing with the emotion properly is to just get it out there. Don't have it a secret anymore. Tell your friend, tell a parent, tell your girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife, therapist, somebody. And I think there's a lot of power in just making it not a secret anymore. I think can be a big first step to actually dealing with your emotions properly, instead of using food or gum or cigarettes or alcohol or whatever.
That's a really good point. And what I had to do to get from 300 pounds to here with my emotional eating was some of the things, like, so you lost weight, now what, right? You've lost the weight, but if you're an emotional eater, like we've been talking about, you have to find a positive outlet for that, or it will do what it did to me. It will latch on to something else, and you'll just develop another thing that you depend on. It won't be food anymore, but you still are not going to be the 100% healthy best you, because you'll still be throwing all of that stuff you don't want to deal with into another obsession or addiction. So, you know, what we did, I got counseling. I found somebody supportive like Kyle. I talked about it to anyone around me, friends, coworkers, neighbors, anyone. If I met a stranger and they happened to, you know, open the door, so to speak, for me, I would talk about the fact that I was an emotional eater and that I had eating issues. And, you know, most people don't want to hear that, because you're now being honest with something and they're not ready to be honest. So, you know, I wasn't well received, but that's not the point. The point is that I was emptying out my closet. I was getting rid of all that baggage that I carried inside my head, and I got it out there. And I didn't care anymore what people thought. What I thought was, I'm going to help myself, and I might just say something to somebody that's struggling just like me, and now they say, hey, this person's dealing with it, so maybe I can do it too. And you can. find somebody supportive. And if you don't have a support system that is very positive, counseling. I did online support groups. There are tons of online support groups. I looked up, I researched websites. I wrote every day. I wrote a journal. I wrote everything out that bothered me from a child, everything that traumatized me. I filled up diaries and journals worth. And once I got it out, I just threw them out or I ripped them up. And when I got everything out, even stuff that I was so embarrassed to put on paper, like binges that I used to have, how much food I would eat in one binge. When I got that out, it was like I didn't have to touch it again. Like, I mean, it's still there, but it wasn't affecting me like it was before. So, you just got to find somebody supportive or be your support, and find an online support group. There, like I said, there are tons of really good ones out there. There should be supports wherever, whatever city or town or country you live in, there should always be support systems and counseling out there for this kind of thing. So I hope that this video really helped anyone out there. I hope that sharing some of the stuff that I've gone through will really help you guys. And you know, we're also a support system, so, and we try to answer every comment to the best of our ability or question that you guys have. So please feel free, if you have a question or if you're struggling and you just want to share it with somebody, please leave it all below and we will respond to you as soon as we can, to the best of our ability, if we can.
Yeah, we try to answer every single comment, so.
And if we don't answer it below, then we'll probably try to answer it in a video. So know that we get it. We've struggled, other people struggle, and you know, it's healthy to share it.
Yep.
That's the main thing. You be your own support or find a support and get it out there. Secrets keep you stuck and sick. So holding it all in, you're never going to advance as a person. You're going to be stuck. So just share it, get it out there. Don't worry about what other people think of you, because it's about you. It's about you being healthy. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you learned something.
Yeah, we're right there along with you guys.
Yeah. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, because what's this? Bye guys.